I think the commission report was well received, and you know, it seemed pretty compelling. I think it is sort of compelling, very compelling, if you believe that the air war theories that have been so prevalent over the last 100 years are the ones that are going to be prevalent for the next 100 years. Now, what am I talking about? Maybe the first slide. Let's hope that, you know, if we go beyond this wonderful, luckily I have very few slides, which is totally uncharacteristic of how I normally operate. Now, these are three prominent authors, not the only ones, of air war theory. And many of you know of at least one or more of these. Billy Mitchell should be, you know, sort of up there with the Abraham Lincoln of the Air Force, so everyone should probably know who he is. Boom Trenchard, what a wonderful nickname, was British, and Mr. Duhay was Australian, okay? These folks, along with Churchill and others, promulgated a pretty thoughtful cut at how to do better at war than the First World War, which was a meat grinder and a terribly destructive war, in that what they didn't burn, gas, or mutilate on the front, they starved to death with blockade in the case of Germany. It was a war unlike any previous one. It was just, I mean, of course, Second World War became more destructive, but up until then, this was really something. And these folks tried to figure out, well, how can we, you know, get away from that? And what they came up with was the simple, well, the sophisticated idea, actually. And that is, if you could do threaten aerial destruction of the major centers of capital in the military, in the military industrial, and in the demographic and political centers of another country, you know, cities, military bases, capital ship ports, you know, major military production plants, you could deter people from doing bad things in peace. And if they went to war, you could win the war against them very quickly and kill far fewer people than you would if you fought this First World War over again, okay? So that idea was sort of played with during the 30s in a number of very small, relatively small skirmishes, but was put into play for a variety of reasons, technical as well as political, in the Second World War. And you had perhaps the most emblematic examples would be Operation Gomorrah against Cologne. You know, 2 nights they killed, I don't know, 40,000 people. Or the firebombing of Tokyo, which was 2 days, 100,000 people. And, you know, they had to destroy all of that, partly because they didn't have aiming accuracy and they ran out of targets. But those kinds of campaigns then lent credibility to the elegant solution of nuclear energy munitions, which could do all of that in an instant, not even 2 days, and seemed like it totally validated this theory. And, you know, after the bombings, I think nuclear energy had the impact of becoming an organizing principle for a lot of governments, including our own, where there was a fair amount of constant secrecy about certain things that was not characteristic of our government before, and a concentration of power in the commander-in-chief or the dear leader or whoever it is running the show. We, to varying degrees, have been operating under that operating principle or organizing principle. Now, I think if you operate under that theory, and if you think that that theory is the one that we should operate into the future, I think the Commission report is not just a consensus for modernizing the existing nuclear forces, but it's a compelling case for augmenting these capacities and using this as a reason to maintain and strengthen whatever the approaches are for nuclear deterrence generally. And so I think that's the source of popularity of the report. I mean, I think it touches things that we've been pretty much upholding and supporting now for, I don't know, 70 years. So it confirms this.